I've recently discovered that less is more. By this I mean a simple life, living a simple life, and that can be determined by however you would prefer to define the term simple. But I would like to live not here, not here, but here. Living as simply as I can, growing most of what I eat, and having enough money to pay the few bills that I do have, and continue to leave a small trace of my living behind to the next generation. We have been brought up not just by mothers, fathers, grandparents, guardians, but society as a whole. Our leaders have failed us in showing us that money doesn't result in happiness. Many of them themselves have issues, some sort of drug, marital, or just relationship altogether. And most of us find that entertaining, long enough for us to watch it on TV or follow them on social media and spend less time doing better for ourselves. We were told and shown as children to want to reach for the stars, and typically that was commonly understood as a fancy job, big house, nice car, lots of money. But we were never really shown what it could mean to shoot for the stars while having less. Now, when you think shooting for the stars, you're thinking out of this world, you're thinking big, but it doesn't always have to be the big picture. Now, follow me for a second. Now, without the new car, there's no new car payments. Without buying the newest gadget, there's more money to be had, and there's less stress in trying to hunt down and wait in line for the new sneakers or whichever phone. But this can be much more stress-free, as you can imagine. Simple. Most people forget about their person on the way to get that money for those objects if they have to save up. And they will risk sleep, they'll risk their own health by means of bad food or bad drinking habits. And even some will sacrifice relationships. Most people on their journey to achieve material things or just wealth in itself lose themselves on the way. Now, this meaning they will forget about sleeping, eating right, or even they'll sacrifice some relationships. But this is what makes us human. So why would we want to sacrifice what makes us human even for a second if it means we could be $1 richer, $100, $1,000,000 richer in the end? I might lose some of you on this, but I don't always agree that more money is better. They always say too much of one thing isn't good for you. People say money changes people because it can. I'm not guaranteeing that it will for everybody. But when you get put in a different place than you have been your entire life, or when you get that new money, you kind of change the way you act. And you can just go all out and just spend the money in wasteful manners as opposed to spending money helping other people. And there's plenty of people in this state, in this country, in this world that need help. You don't have to go far to find it. Simplicity just means that you're happy in doing whatever it is you're doing. It doesn't mean that you have to cut down on a bunch of things. It means limiting expenses that you don't need. And some of you may think that you need these things. Some of you may agree with me. But the less that you have, the more you appreciate those few things. So if you try to keep up with everybody in the race to the new gadget, the designer shirt, or get money for the nail salon or massage parlor or whatever you're into, all of those things can have a role in a simplistic life, but they should not be the center of it. We should not be working to get to these material things. We should be working to do what we like to do, because that's where we spend most of our time. We spend 8 hours of a day at work. So why do something just for the money on the weekends when you have less time on the weekends than you do during the week? Think about it. But I'm not telling anybody how to live their life. I'm not saying that this is the go-to method, but I'm just trying to shed a little light on my thoughts on how to live a happier life. And I believe to fix problems that humanity has, at least, that can be done simply but not easily, meaning the solution could be give up one thing. It may not be easy, but it's simple. Now we have to share more useful, important information with each other to shed light upon all the dark places that we don't really get to hear a lot about of unless we go looking for information. For example, I wouldn't have known much about many of the things that I know about because I wasn't exposed to them by instructor of any kind, even the news, even the media, unless you surround yourself with the right things. I went out on my own to find out most of what I know. After finding out this information, I chose to not be ignorant by making a change, because if you do something unknowing the harm, then it's a simple decision. But if you do something that causes harm and you know it causes harm and continue to do that, then that's when the term ignorance starts to become relevant. Because if you don't know what you're doing, it's not ignorance, it's just the absence of knowledge. Once you have an opportunity to learn, once you find out what it means, that's when you become ignorant. We all need to influence each other, because if celebrities are the only voice in the public eye of influence, then we are left feeling as though we have to compete by their standards of wealth, instead of looking at them as people. Many of our current public figures are not concerned with the well-being of others, so pick your leaders responsibly. One recommendation I have is to be more open to information and customs that are out of your comfort zone, because that's where we begin to learn. I don't want to be rich in wealth. I'd rather be rich in experience, in health, in love, and adventure. Money can't buy all of those things. The only thing you have throughout your life is your body. Treat it right. Enjoy life while you have it. Don't follow the crowd and live to buy. Be a conscious independent and fight for your rights.